Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari on my lonesome today because Asuko has, as I like to joke, urgent matters of the pen to attend to. So I imagine we'll get along in his absence till he returns. Okay, now, today we thought we'd look at the news that broke yesterday. That is to say that President Muhammadu Buhari has sent the name of the acting president of the Court of Appeal to the Senate for confirmation. Talking here about Justice Monica Dongban-Esem. I hope I said that right. Ordinarily, it wouldn't have been a remarkable event, but we're remarking it now because but there are those who think this has been a bit late in coming. First of all, the way the president recommends, the way the president sends to the Senate any person that he wants is he would first of all have been recommended to by the NJC, the Nigerian National Judicial Council. That's the convention. That's the way it is. They will recommend to the president that this is the fitting person to take over. But Justice Mensem, Dongban-Esem, maybe I just shorten it to Mensem. The justice has indeed been acting, and when her first term of acting expired, it was renewed. As late as Sunday, Garba Shehu's presidential spokesperson was saying that he didn't see what the hue and cry and the hullabaloo was all about because indeed we were within conventions. Her term of her acting term has not expired, and then later on I was to read something about the president will not be stampeded. But then suddenly yesterday, her name, you saw her picture just now, that's Justice Monica Dongban-Esem. Her name has now been forwarded to the to the Senate for confirmation as the substantive president of the Court of Appeal. Now, I have a couple of lawyers to talk with this, and indeed you'll also be weighing in on the matter yourself from home. But we have Monday Onyekachi Ubani. Mr. Ubani, as you know, he's a former second vice president at the NBA. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us, Monday.
Yeah, Chief, it's my pleasure. How are you this morning?
Indeed, thank you very much for making time for us. And we also have with us Malaki Ugumadu. He's a former president of CDHR. Thank you very much as well, Malaki, for making time for us.
Well, good morning. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Excellent.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Excellent. Let me start off with you, Monday, and I just want to get you to hear both your voices on this whole matter. There's been a lot, and let me start with Monday Onyekachi Ubani, if I may. This has had to go to the president renewing her acting tenure, and it is in the midst of this second acting tenure, where the president has extended it by another 3 months, that this forwarding of her name has happened. What would be your comment on that? What do you think was the reason, or why was it that within the acting period she couldn't, this action that we are performing now couldn't have been performed? Monday Onyekachi
The
Ubani.
Constitution makes a provision.
Yes.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Carry on, please. Carry on, please.
Put it under the context of the Constitution. The Constitution itself makes a provision that anytime the I think
we're having a bit
the appointment.
We're having a bit of a problem.
Am I not?
Yes, you are online, Malaki, as well. While we're sorting it out with Monday's line, Malaki, this has taken an extension of her lordship's acting period. Why do you think that is? What's the difficulty here? She's the most senior judge, so what are the issues? And the NJC recommended.
Of characterizing what has happened, take a recourse. Now, like my learned was saying, in section 280, subsection 2 and 4, what happens in such circumstances. Wherever there is a appoints the most senior in subsection 4 of section 280, acting capacity.
You know, we're having problems with your line as well. Malaki, I beg your pardon. We're having problems with your line as well. I don't know. It must be a storm cloud gathering somewhere. The same kind of problem we're having with Monday Yekiti Ubani is what we're having with you two. Your audio is dropping in and out, but hopefully it won't affect the phones, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But just in case, since this is a technical subject, I'm not going to be talking about that. I'll be asking the questions. We're going to also open up the lines so that people can comment on this one way or the other while we tidy up the lines, the phone lines. Yeah, in a sense, yeah. It's really the phones and the internet connectivity with our two main guests, Monday Nkechi Ubani and Malaki Ugumadu. But as I said, the phones are also on. So we might be able to get through on the phone. Maybe we can get some lawyers in on the phone while we're sorting out the lines. Or maybe you could get some interested people to also comment on it. We have now, the president has now sent to the Senate the name of Justice Monica Dongban-Esem, who has been acting in the capacity of the president of the Court of Appeal. Mr. George, good morning. Did I get the correct? Did you say Mr. George?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Very much. Thank you very much for coming in.
And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Sure.
Uncle Yori, I need to say this. The trend that has developed in the judiciary over the pressure that lawyers and people in the judicial system put on the government to appoint a particular person, I am worried about it. That was how they did on the CJN, and we see the judgments that come from our courts. For me, Uncle Yori, I see all these unnecessary pressures as a corruption fight back. Look at the Bayelsa election judgment. Look at several judgments that come from our courts. Whenever the president is to confirm a senior judicial officer, you see all the lawyers and all the people in that industry come forward together to mount pressure on the government. Why are they doing that? They don't want the status quo to change. And you can see that there is no dynamics in our judicial system. People are crying for justice. We are not getting it. The corruption war that the government is waging, the judiciary is becoming a stumbling block to it. That is why whenever I want a senior officer in that arm of government is to be appointed, you see all of them come out and say, this must be the person. Where is the place of competence?
Yeah.
Where is the place of the role that the fight against corruption as a policy of the government? Where is that place?
Indeed.
They don't want the status quo to change. I want to advise the government that they must see it as a corruption fight back. I may be wrong, but that is the way I see it.
Indeed.
They should allow if the NJC recommends somebody, is it a month that is the person that the president must confirm? Isn't competence supposed to be in forefront? I want to know. I want these lawyers before you to tell us.
Indeed. These are the kind of questions that we want to sort of air as well. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. As you said there, and it's, as is widely known, the president doesn't come up with this name himself. The practice, the convention is that it is the NJC that recommends to the president. That's because it's a specialist body. It knows it's tough. It's its terrain. It knows all the lawyers and all the judges therein, and so it puts together whatever it is they have to put together and then makes the recommendation to the president, who ordinarily would be expected to just go with it. But let me see if our lawyers are back on. Monday, are you back on? Good morning again.
I've always been here. I've been hearing you loud and clear.
I know. But if you understood our explanation as well, we were not getting you the way we would like it.
Yes,
you would say 2 words, and then your next 4 words would drop out, and then so we could. It was difficult for us. Yeah,
is that right?
Maybe you were. Well, we understand all the. Yes, we understand all the constitutional provisions, and everything was followed right up to the acting capacity. Why it was not then one of those kind of things where before the expiration, she would have been appointed as a substantive president. As it is, you've heard one opinion from the public, so to speak, in this kind of matter. Why is there this problem? She's the most senior. She's eminently confident, according to all people who know her.
No, what I was saying before you said you were not hearing me clearly is that these issues are constitutional, and there has not been any breach. If after 3 months in an acting capacity, it expires and there is no renomination by the agency, of course, that appointment elapses. But there has been a renomination by the agency, which now led to the renewal for another 3 months. And within this extra 3 months, the confirmation has been sent now for confirmation.
Yeah.
Well, it has been the practice of our president, of this current president, not to be in a haste to confirm justices. Remember also on August time, people had to cry out before he finally submitted his name. When it was even the vice president then who was in an acting capacity.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put a pause. I'm gonna have to put a pause there, and then I'm gonna come back to you after this break. Please stay with us. Okay, welcome back. We're having something of a bit of a challenge in terms of the Skype connectivity. We have barristers Monday Nyokichi Ubani and Malaki Ugumadu on the line. And we've just heard briefly from Mr. Ubani. Now, as for Mr. Ugumadu, yet to hear his voice. Now, the scene has been set for us. All of this is constitutional. There's no doubt about that. But why did it need to go to an extension before this recommendation or this forwarding of her name has been made to the Senate is the question people are asking. Why? What's so difficult? First of all, she's the most senior. Secondly, she's supposed to be more than competent, according to those who are in the know. What exactly was the problem is what the question that people have been asking. And as you know, they've been writing editorials on this. They've been making reports on it. And, what's your take, Malaki, on this whole issue? Why this delay? Although we're happy that it has happened finally.
Well, but whether or not it eventually happened should not detract from what was proper in the first place. And if it is indeed correct that we are running a constitutional democracy founded on the express provisions of the Constitution, the Supreme Law, then every and any action must be in compliance with that express Constitution. And therefore, where Section 238, subsection 4 stipulates the time frame within which an appointed president of the Court of Appeal shall act in acting capacity, there will be no justification to detract from that constitutional provision. And you would understand that this whole development generated a lot of public concern, no less that of Colonel Zungina, former military administrator of Kaduna State, who had to speak out. And that becomes the
Colonel
challenge.
Umar.
Why was this delay? Colonel Umar.
Yes. Okay.
The soldier who resigned his commission
yes.
on account of Babangida's transgression. So it took such outcry, such unanimous position, at least on the part of the discerning Nigerian, to say, look, we cannot continue like this. The constitution is clear as to what must happen if the president or any person occupying the position of the president of the Court of Appeal is unable to perform the functions of his office. Mm-hmm. It behoves on the president to appoint yet another, this time the most senior,
yes,
in an acting capacity, provided, of course, as stipulated under subsection 4 and 5, that such appointment shall not exceed 3 months. And therefore, your question clearly speaks to the levity with which we have consistently treated the express provisions of the Constitution. It took such outcry, it took such, public resentment for these further moves to be made. So that question should be back to them, because it beats the Constitution, it beats my own imagination, and there are no ambiguity as to what should be done. Once you no longer have a president, appoint the next most senior judicial officer in that court, in this case, Court of Appeal, who shall function in that capacity, acting capacity, for not more than 3 months. Once that 3 months elapses, you were expected before then to have put your house in order and save us all of this longer grammar.
Indeed. But switching over to you, Mr. Ubani, you are saying that, okay, we're still trying to connect with Mr. Ubani there. So there is a sense, though, in which, staying with you now, Malaki, and we'll also have the lines open, there is a sense in which we can say that technically all of this is still constitutional, because the Constitution provided for this, the authority of the president has the authority to extend, just as he has the authority to do what he has now done, that was announced yesterday afternoon, which is forward the name of Her Lordship to the National Assembly, the Senate, for confirmation. Now, first of all, we can take this almost maybe 99.9% as a done deal, because there still is the technical hurdle that Senate Senate cannot be forced to approve. So technically speaking, it's not over yet. But I suppose most right-thinking members of society will take it for granted that, at long last, she's now going to be appointed and she will become the substantive president of the Court of Appeal. But the other, I think the line that I think the line that Ubani was pursuing was that there is no infringement yet of the Constitution. It might not be entirely as we would have imagined it, but it needs to be remembered that there is no infringement of the Constitution. And we've also heard from Mr. George, a caller, just like Reverend Dominic, who has also called in, to say that he felt that there was some pressure being mounted somewhere. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning, my friends on the line over there.
Yes.
Yori, I want to follow the line of Judge this morning.
Okay.
And the judge has said this several times, that this night government, you know what I mean by night government, are not proactive in many things or inform Nigeria what they're supposed to do. I'm not happy the way Nigerians are stampeding this government. Even she will say that they're stampeding them. Why did I say this? I'm not saying whether this woman is corrupt or not corrupt. But government is supposed to do due diligence ahead of time. This government comes a platform of fighting corruption. And one man cannot be a forest. One man cannot fight corruption. They must find men and women who will help them gender. Can you look at what happened in the Supreme Court the other day? That we went to court for 3 good years, spending Nigerian money for 2 years. Jacob stood there that fan for 12 years. After the judgment, a big court of 5 men said we should return back. And do not consider the 12 years of this time, not because this man is so a criminal in court, but because a judge that was promoted to appeal court came back by waiver, Buhari, by the appeal court president to finish what he started. Sounds like common sense. How do we say 12 years again? What broke my mind so much was on that judgment. It was at the 5 men. Nobody could say, this is not the right thing to do.
All right.
These 5 wise men decided to say that the 12 years of work done diligently is a way. What kind of judicial is that?
Let me come back to you. Well, thank you very much for calling in. I've got to go off on another break. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. And Malaki, you're back online, I hope. Okay, then. Malaki, can you hear me? Oh, dear. Okay. Well, we've made a few points. We've made a few points. Now, who am I speaking?
I'm here. Mr. Buhari is here.
Okay, as I was saying, you seem to be indicating that you probably can't see the reason for any fuss because we're still within the provisions of the Constitution. Now, let's address why there was the seeming delay. I think I had heard, well, I had read Garba Shehu's presidency spokesperson say that, one, the president will not be stampeded. And we know that the president likes to take his time. He likes to be thorough. And also, perhaps most importantly, that I think part of the explanation he gave was that there were checks, there were clearances, there were screenings that needed to be done. And these, needn't be hurried unduly. I think that was part of the innuendo that I got, if not the exact words. And that this is not a duty that one can take lightly. Your comment?
Is it for Buhari or for Mr. Malaki?
Well, actually, by now, I was addressing Ubani because we had problem with Mr. Malaki, but we'll go over to Mr. Malaki as soon as you are finished. So go ahead, please.
Okay. Yes, as I said earlier, my take is that the president is not always in a hurry. We have known that most times. Even in appointment, even in replacement of those Nigerians feel are not actually performing. We have known that to be his trait and that to be his character. And so with the woman, the lady that's supposed to be appointed as the president of the Court of Appeal, there was this slight delay and then insinuations here and there, and then the Shehu himself did not help matters by talking about the president not being stampeded, into appointing or nominating this woman. I mean, taking her name to the Senate for confirmation. But I know that the NJC does all that filtering process. The NJC acts as a bulwark between the executive and the judiciary, and that is the purpose that particular body was created, to ensure that there is no undue interference with our judiciary. And so anytime any person is recommended, the NJC would have done they have crossed all the T's and done all the I's. They would have done what they're supposed to do to know that this person is competent, that this person qualifies as a person for that position. So most times, the delay by the executive has no constitutional basis.
All right. One moment, sir. One moment, sir. Let me switch over to Malaki on that area. Malaki, your thoughts, please, on the presidential spokesperson's commentary that, one, the president will not be stampeded. This was all before this deed has now been done. That, one, he would not be stampeded. Two, there were things that could not be hurried unduly, such as clearances and checks. Now, you've just heard your learned brother there say that it's his opinion that these are matters that would have been sorted out by the NJC before the president. So all the president needs to really do is go with the work that, the Constitution has delegated to them. Your thoughts?
Well, as a nation now, we're interested in moving forward. However, the point must be made very clear that the propriety or constitutionality of what has happened does not lie in the spokesperson's mouth. The fact that the president, as in nature, as a person, takes time in doing things does not detract from what our Constitution says. In short, the question will be within the time.
Technically, this is still in order.
Of the third month of her appointment in acting capacity, and now that the right thing is about to be.
Okay. Godwin has called in from Jalingo. Good morning. Bobby from Jalingo. Good morning, Mr. Bobby.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Uncle Yori, the problem with this government is, why do they always wait for people to start raising before they do the needful? I don't buy the idea of Shehu Sani coming to tell me that the president takes his time before doing the needful for the people of this country. Uncle Yori, for God's sake, Nigeria is not Daura or somewhere else. This man, he is the manager of this country. So for somebody like Shehu Sani or Femi Additional to come out and tell me or tell the world that the president takes his time before he does things, for God's sake, this is absolutely wrong, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for calling in. Actually, I'm not sure that it is Shehu Sani, but I know what you mean. That is the presidential spokesperson, the second to Mr. Femi Adesina. But going back to you now, because you were speaking at the time, Malaki. You were speaking at the time.
Okay.
Please continue
I was emphasizing.
Yeah, go on.
Very well. I was emphasizing the point that whether or not Shehu Garuba
Shehu. It's Garuba Shehu, not Shehu Sani.
Try to characterize does not. I said Garuba Shehu.
I know. I was just correct.
Yes. It doesn't detract from the express provisions of the Constitution, and I've asked that pointed question. From the moment after that third month, where the lady acted as acting president of the Court of Appeal, till now, have we as a nation, particularly the executive, respected the Constitution? The answer is no. So I think there is the need for us to clearly beef up the quality and content of legal advice that this administration, because in a sense, it gives the impression that not much attention is paid to what the Constitution says. And that is where all of these controversies are coming. If eventually he does the right thing at the wrong time, there's a sense in which he's also setting a precedence that has the capacity to disorganize the system. And that is the point.
Okay,
So
but still, taking those words that you are saying very carefully, it's like constitutionally, this still is within that margin of the right time. It's just that people would prefer it to be sooner rather than later. But constitutionally, it's still the right time.
Correct.
Okay, sir.
Correct, in the circumstance.
Yes.
In the circumstance. Yeah.
Okay.
Except that those moments when she exceeded that 3 months, her appointment was of no effect any longer, according to subsection 5 of the relevant section that we're mentioning.
Okay, then.
3,
1 moment, please, while I bring in Mazi Okoroafo. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Sayode.
Yes.
You see, the appointment came at a very rightful time. You see, all these controversies you are talking about, which have been hammering since you started this program, since 10:30. After that, the first 3 months, Nigerians were expecting, we are in this country, we are always in a hurry. That was so after that first 3 months, you now see a lot of write-ups, stories, left and right, Tom, Jig and Harry. Now, she's now in the second tenure to complete the 6 months. But look, what we have to look at as a country is that we are in a country that we have to take things strategically. What do we mean by strategically? We have 3 months, you have 3 months, make it 6 months. The 6 months have not elapsed. Thank God that the president have done the needful for the people. But the thing is this, the Madam Passe, at least this is a kudos or the credit to the female folk in Nigeria, not only in the judiciary system or in the all ramifications, that women, they have a role to play for the system of this country, for Nigeria to move forward. Women play, not only the men alone. Women has a good role to play.
Okay, thank you very much, Mazi, for calling in. Barrister Ubani, that is yet another interpretation that one could give to this whole matter, that, well, constitutionally, the candidate could act for 6 months, broken up into 2 periods of 3 months. But people sort of expected that where there was no controversy, where there was no issue, it just might happen that the candidate might be appointed in the first period of acting. That did not happen. And now that we're still within that constitutionally viable and correct margin, the president has appointed. But it's coming at the end of, I don't even know that it is the end if the president hadn't acted. Because if the president had delayed action for another 2 months, which again would have been constitutional, perhaps there might have been more write-ups. Perhaps there might have been more discussion programs on radio and television. The latest, as someone pointed out, was by Colonel, I think, Abubakar Umar, who had written, I think the latest in a stream was on Sunday. So that is the real issue, the people's expectation that in the light of there not being any controversy as far as they could see, why was Justice Monica Dongban-Esem not cleared? Why didn't she clear the hurdle in the first acting period? Well, as has been said, first 3 months, the second 3 months, everything is still constitutional, even though people would have wanted it differently. Is that right? But at the end of the day, the right thing has been done. It's a matter of time now. There are those who are commenting that, well, President Buhari has been known to insist on being thorough, on not being stampeded, on taking his time to do a job well. And this appears to be what has happened here, although different interpretations are being given to it. Mazi Ubani, well, should I just say Monday Yekati Ubani? Would you agree with that?
Just give me time to answer you, sir. I think that we need to know what we want as a nation. We have actually, I said it earlier, that the president of this country, that is President Buhari, is always very slow in doing certain things. And in a country that is in a hurry to
slow is one way, thorough is another.
That cannot be an attitude. Allow me, sir, let me tell you, it is not good for a president to always delay. It took the president almost 6 months before he appointed his initial ministers when he was sworn in 2015. And some of us, defended it, believing that there was reason for it. But at the end, we didn't see any reason for it. And most times also, even in this government, in this present he has taken time in doing certain things. And we cannot continue this way. For a nation that is clearly in a hurry to most times those delays raises unnecessary controversy and bring issue of evil reputation at stake and all that. Whereas there wouldn't have been any reason for it. There is no need for it. So this woman, within the 3 months, she was in an acting capacity. Whatever clearance she wants to do, either security clearance or whatever, would have been enough for that to have been done. And then the woman's name sent to the Senate for confirmation. But it took all your time, and then, of course, raising unnecessary controversy, and then your your pressman now comes in and begins to tell the world that the president cannot be stampeded and all that. That's unnecessary.
Okay, one moment, please. One moment, please. Let me bring in, one moment, sorry, sir. Let me bring in Abdul Salam in Port Harcourt. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. As far as this issue is concerned, actually, I have not seen anything true and ambiguous about it. Because one, 3 months, like for instance, like I know in appointing caretaker chairman, because it's just like a caretaker, for the period of 3 months. So, which is quite renewable again after 3 months before the actual confirmation. So I think the president is in line, with what he has done. Though I'm not a lawyer. So, but at least the law must have a provision for appointment of a caretaker and then a renewer, at the same time. So
okay.
3 months.
I hear you.
Appointment, and then it can be renewed as well after 3 months.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Abdul Salam. I hear you. As I said, one way of interpreting the whole thing is that it's actually a 6 months acting period potential. It could be 3 months and it could be 6 months. Well, in this case, it has gone to 6 months. And, in fact, Mr. George started off by saying that there was undue pressure being put on the government. That is why the thing has gone up to this point of the second period of 3 months. Mr. Ubani, who is on the line with us, has said that he would have wanted it to be a lot niftier. He had said slow. Well, the presidency has never said slow. It has always talked about being thorough, and sometimes thoroughness, will eat up time. What's your thought in that regard, Malaki? Slow as to being thorough.
Very well. Well, yes. Well, I think at this point it is important to enlighten Nigerians with all modesty. We're not in the business of speculation. There is no ambiguity regarding the time frame within which certain actions must be performed with these appointments. And I have referenced the relevant sections of the Constitution. Now, throughout that section 238, it has 5 subsections. There is nowhere where the appointment of an acting president of the Court of Appeal is provided to be extended. In other words, there is no room for extension beyond 3 months.
I see.
In fact, subsection 5 of that section insists that such an appointment shall have no effect after the expiration of the third month. In other words, if such person who was appointed in acting capacity exceeds the 3 months time frame, such an appointment becomes a nullity. It becomes of no moment and of no effect. Indeed, the Constitution, recognizing that there could be this liturgy with such an arrangement, insists that the president shall have no power to reappoint that same person. So viewers should please understand that we are not speculating. We are not trying to read the mind of the president or to understand the balancing that usually goes on.
Malaki,
Malaki,
I would have to concede to you the knowledge of the law because you seem to have indicated in your response just now that the president doesn't even have the power to extend, I'm just putting it into a succinct bullet now, the president doesn't even have the power to extend her acting tenure. That seems to be, in one line, what you're saying.
Yes.
And you said that, furthermore, in case
And
anybody's
I'm quoting
interested,
the Constitution.
therefore,
the Constitution.
the Constitution does not allow the president, even though
Yes.
Garba Shehu, let me switch over to you, Monday. But I wanted to get Monday's
Yes.
opinion on this whole matter. What's your understanding? Does the president have or does he not have the power, the constitutional power, to extend the acting period tenure of a candidate in this position?
He does not have any power from the provisions of the Constitution too. He says after the 3 months expiration, unless the NJC again renews that particular position, the president cannot extend. He doesn't have that power because immediately that 3 months elapses and that person's position is not in any way, it becomes, everything, becomes, as it is. The person cannot in any way act.
Okay.
It is when now the agency, which we are saying that it wouldn't have been necessary if the president of the country has always been up and doing following the provisions of the Constitution and doing it without raising unnecessary, controversy. He would have within that 3 months done the necessaries. By sending her name to the Senate for confirmation. You allow the 3 months and then you now have the agency again renewing. Because without the agency, the president cannot in any way extend the power of the woman to remain there.
Okay, one moment, please. Bright, Mr. Bright in Port Harcourt. How say you?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling from Onega, River State.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I really want to appreciate the presidency for confirming two-man. Are you hearing me, sir?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, I want to congratulate the presidency for confirming this woman, the president of the Appeal Court. Then ago, he made the right decision because as a president, he has to take his time before making a decision. So therefore, I commend him on that. But my problem is, he could have at least.
People are saying 3 months. People are saying, wasn't 3 months enough? Right? If you can hear me, wasn't 3 months enough to make the right decision? Is what some commentators are asking.
So that's my case.
Okay. I don't think you could hear me. Okay, thank you very much for calling in. Well, the lawyers on our set have introduced another dimension by saying that if you're going to go strictly by the Constitution, they can't find anywhere where the president is empowered to indeed extend the tenure of her acting capacity. Now, that would be a problem if the lawyers were on point. But I would be very, very surprised, and if the president, considering the whole teams, batteries of lawyers that must be available to the presidency, the Federal Ministry of Justice, the Attorney General, surely they would have advised him as to what is legal and what is not constitutional.
Remember that we added a caveat, Mr. Yori?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Yori, I hope we are hearing now. Yes, we added a caveat. Now it goes back again to the NJC to now renew before the president now extends.
Okay.
Remember that we've said that.
Yes.
We didn't say that there is no provision for that. It is only when so if the agency now.
So you have to start again.
It then means that woman that had been recommended in the first place wouldn't have, been put in an acting capacity for another 3 months. So I'm saying that our nation must always understand our point. We're not trying to criticize for criticizing the president's sake. We want to run a country that all of us shall be very proud of. And we're saying that our president is always very slow. Let's say it the way it is. In doing certain things, and sometimes allow certain unnecessary emotion to be raised in the controversy. It's not necessary for the government. The government must always do the right thing at the right time. At the right time is also very critical for us as a nation.
Okay, thank you for that sort of explanation, because if I understood the legal doobly-doo, what you are saying in there is that it's possible, so far as the NJC recommends, then it could be reset again.
Hello?
I think that is Ada in Jos.
Hello, Ada in Jos, yes.
Ada in Jos, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Yori, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
As much as I want to commend the president on the steps he takes in sending the name of Monica Masem to the National Assembly for confirmation, I must say here that we must strengthen our institutions. If our institutions are strengthened, we won't be having this problem. Now, the way it is, it looks as if it was the open letter by Colonel Omar that made him to take this decision, and it's not good for a country. It's not the way to run a country. Let the president have everything and carry everybody along. Let us avoid all these controversies. Indeed. We want Nigeria to be what it's supposed to be, and not giving us the impression that, as much as we say that the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable, but the conditions on which we will exist peacefully is negotiable. God bless Nigeria.
Amen. Thank you very much for calling in, Ada. Well, Mr. Obani has, sort of amended or explained his assertion, and I think Malaki will go along with it, that it's possible that a workaround would be that, and this is my interpretation of what I'm hearing from you legal minds, that if the NJC recommends, then, you can sort of reset the clock, so to speak. I don't know. Because when you made that assertion, it was quite worrying that the president doesn't have, but you said you've explained it, that unless NJC insists and recommends. But it still goes back to the former question, why couldn't we have done what we've done now in 3 months? Is 3 months not enough to make an informed and a very careful decision? Did I get it right? Bolade in Lekki?
Lekki from Lagos, yes.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning, Yori. I've enjoyed your program.
Go ahead, please. Thank you for calling.
I believe we are a nation that must do things right. When this government delivered the budget on time, we commended the government. Now, this appointment has been known before 3 months that this position will be vacant. There is no basis for a single day delay in confirming this appointment. This is not somebody you are picking from the blues. This is somebody who has been in the system, the judiciary, their position are all aligned. We know who is there, who is not there. Let us run an efficient country. And those who are defending the government, this government, everybody is temporary. In 2023, everything this government has done will become history. We must not create all these kind of inefficiencies in our system. I want to congratulate the woman, and I want to congratulate all those who have spoken. And all these insinuations are not the rest. They provide the undercurrent by when you have all those delays and not the rest. And those with the presidency, they should work harder. They are working for a nation. They are there for a period. They will not be there forever. This nation belongs to all of us. And let us do things timely and equitably.
All right, then.
Nigeria.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bolade, for calling in. And when you said everything that this government has done shall become history, indeed, that's the nature of the world. But hopefully it will be history that can be built upon. That's the most important thing. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much, Mr. Malaki Ugumadu and Mr. Obani, for helping us out with this. But we have time for, I think, bullet points. Let me start with you, Malaki, if that's okay with you. Just, a 30-second closer.
Well, thank you very much. The bullet points that reaction in quoting the Constitution was in response to the notion already gaining currency that he can extend. He cannot extend except on the recommendation of NJC. That's one. Finally, the beauty of the constitutional arrangement is such that makes it a tripartite appointment. That is to tell you how very serious the Constitution takes it and how seriously we ought to also take it.
Indeed. Mr. Monday Onyekachubani?
I need it.
Yes, sir. Quickly, please.
Yeah, I need Nigerians quickly to be alert and always hold the people that have elected accountable. Let them be very bold enough. Most time we do certain things all because we fear people who are in power or whatever we want to get. Let's tell the government when they're doing well, let's commend them. When they're also not doing well, let's also tell them so that we can have a country all of us shall be very proud of. That has always been my take, and that's always my principle in life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ubani. And once more, our thanks to Mr. Gumadu and our thanks to all those that called in, ranging from Mr. Abdul Salami to Ada to Bolade. Thank you very much, all of you that made the program, what it is. Helped us a bit with some enlightening. Somebody, Bolade, even got ahead and congratulated her. The Senate has not yet confirmed. There's still that 1% or 0.05%. But that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.